Hello, beautiful ones. I hope you're all having a beautiful now. In this video, I'm going to talk about what it means to be one with all life and how does that exactly impact your everyday life. So, in another video, maybe about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I talked about how being one with all that is not just like a metaphor, it's a literal, real thing. So, what does that mean, though, to be one with all life? And how does that impact your everyday life? And how does that impact how you encounter others or when you encounter others, what we call others? I, like many, used to have this idea that my source, that this love that I was searching for, was somehow outside of me. It was separate from me in a way. For others, the source, God, spirit, is in heaven somewhere. It's the dude with the beard. And it exists apart from them. But this source that we speak of, or that I speak of, is in every breath. It's in all that you behold. It's in all that you are. What's ironic is that this source doesn't have a form, but it can actually take all of them. So that all perspective or belief has changed during this period of awakening, during this ascension, for a better lack of word. What I see now is that we are the fabric that makes up all of it, the fabric that holds all together. We are in our source, and our source is in us, which is, if you listen to that, we are in our source, and our source is in us. I was and am in my source having this experience as you are. Our source is not removed from us. It's not in some higher dimension. It is here within us now as we speak. I realized in my part that the source makes up all that we see, everything that I am, every moment, this breath, this voice, this heartbeat, every blade of grass, every cloud, all that I see, that I am, that I touch, is this divine radiance that I have been looking for. And this knowing and blessing is such a beautiful and powerful experience that you realize that everything that you went through, that got you to this moment, that got you to be who you are now, was so worth it. Everything is always in service to you, to us all. Sometimes that is difficult to see. I understand. Many have a different feeling and seeing of this because of their experience. And, I'm an expert at that. I used to view life that way. But during this period of great growth, we have the opportunity to drop those belief systems that no longer serve us. We have the opportunity to grow. We have the opportunity to open, to change, the kind of change that is internal, that is meaningful, that is impactful. And I tell you that it's 100,000 million percent worth it. When you encounter the source, what you find is that you don't have to sit there and prove yourself to it. You don't have to do penance. You don't have to do 100 Hail Marys. You don't have to do anything when approaching this when reaching within. Actually, is more what it is you're reaching within. Instead, this divine source and divine radiance embraces you exactly as you are, as you've been. So another change that many experience during this shift is the need to release. Is the need to release who we thought that we were, who we were told that we were. Releasing any boundaries, any barriers, anything that we created that we thought was a part of us, or anything where we thought we were maybe lacking, where we were viewing things from a dualistic point of view. For me, it was releasing even the ideas of terms and labels that I had been giving myself. Even the terms of starseed, of human, of woman. It was releasing how I'm supposed to be, how I've been told to be. And instead choosing to see who we are, realizing beyond that we are much more than that. Beyond that, we are one with all life. We are one with this divine radiance. We are one with the highest love, with the highest compassion, with the highest peace, with all of it. Despite how uncomfortable it feels at times, despite any hell we choose to create, and we're very good at creating that, it's still such an honor and a pleasure to be here, to have the power to forgive, the power and peace that comes from forgiving. That's an important topic that I'm still working on myself. And I want to encourage you all to know that you can forgive, or at least start to, knowing that we all make mistakes, that many that you meet that hurt you, they were acting from a place of pain and fear, and that, this in turn hurt others, just like we've done it to other beings. Those beings that hurt us are also hurting themselves internally, and we can have mercy on them, which is it comes from a place of power. It comes from a place of compassion. It doesn't come from a place of weakness at all. And realizing that we ourselves may need to have that compassion for ourselves, when we look back at the mistakes or things that we think of, that were mistakes that we made. And so, like I said, we can have mercy on them. While, of course, you may have to remove yourself from certain situations. If you're in an abusive situation, you can still forgive, but you can choose to release yourself from that. And you can choose to release yourself and forgive yourself for being in those kind of situations, for anything that you've done, maybe any way that you've hurt others. You can choose to forgive yourself, choose to shower yourself with your own forgiveness, knowing that you're worthy of that forgiveness. Shower yourself with your own compassion, knowing that you are worthy of that compassion. So this is the opportunity that is available to all of us right now, to all of us who choose it, in this reality that a lot of people like to call a classroom. I've never really liked that word. I mean, I feel like you can take whatever you want from it, right? But in a way, it is a classroom. It's not like Source was like, here, children, go out and go learn, and go to school and go learn. But I feel like, in a way, if anything, this would be a classroom where we learn to be more responsible creators, where we learn to be better creators, where we learn to be more compassionate creators. You get the ability and the gift to see yourself as being one with all life and with all that surrounds you, even if it looks very different from you. So, seeing yourself that way, how do you treat life if it is one with you? How do you treat your brothers and sisters that you encounter? How do you treat those who have hurt you in the past? Can you forgive them, or at least want to, or attempt to, once and for all? Those beings that hurt us, they hurt themselves too. I can't imagine that it feels good to stab yourself. It doesn't feel good to punish yourself either, and realize that you're holding yourself in bondage by holding others in unforgiveness and resentment. You hold yourself in bondage also by holding yourself in unforgiveness. But you can release yourself from that bondage, or start to. You are free. Think about it. How do you imprison something that doesn't just exist within everything, but also outside and beyond? We're not just a body, a soul. We're the source that is constantly growing and creating. We are that source embodied here and now. We are that source embodied here and now. That's very important to realize that. Not sometime when you're perfect in the future, but here and now. We are within that source, and that source is within us. For my part, I can say that I am gladly and madly in love with that source, as I am with you all. I'm in love with all that I see. And all that I see is what I am too. I'm so grateful to be here, to have this opportunity to see beyond all of it, we have the opportunity to see ourselves. It's such a gift to even just be able to get a glimpse of what we are. Perhaps now and before, I used to see myself as separate, and I would put myself in little compartments. This is my higher self, my soul, my source, my human. Now what I see myself as more of a wave. It's like I'm existing between my source, my soul, my human aspects, and everything in between. I'm existing in a wave, in a waveform with everything. When I see this internally, I see it almost as like an infinity symbol. So during this ascension, we're coming back into our power, and it's wonderful. It really is. It's not always easy, especially for, if we've put ourselves in disempowering positions. It can be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's a good sign if it's a little bit uncomfortable. It means you're growing a little or a lot. So maybe before we saw ourselves as one thing. Maybe we saw ourselves as just being a human, a physical being. But realize that we are much more than one state of being. We are much more than human, more than just a spirit with many lives. We can live our full potential here and now. Not holding back in fear, not keeping ourselves in bondage, in purgatory, in unworthiness over past mistakes, or keeping others in bondage, in contempt or in derision, and putting them in hell. But at the same time saying, oh, we're worthy of heaven, we're worthy of forgiveness, of unconditional love, but saying that others aren't, you know? So it's like, for myself, I ask myself the question, and I guess it's the same question that I would ask to anyone else who also has come to this knowing that we are all one. You know, how how do you hold another outside of that? You know, and it's another in quotations because there's no other. How can I hold another outside of that love, outside of that unforgiveness? And for myself, I just can't. I can't do it anymore. The light that I am, it enfolds all that is. It doesn't leave anything behind. It replenishes all. It replenishes our entire being in each and every moment. It is, for my part, I see it as, it is what I am as I go about my day. And knowing myself as I do now has cleared up so much confusion and so much judgment. Although I still go through it. I have my ups and downs. This past 24 hours have been really odd, by the way. Yeah, they've been really, really intense. I think feels like there's a lot of clearing going on. I know that's again the sun and just the electromagnetic field and all the energy that's surrounding us is bringing a lot of transformative energies, and they're energies that are can be pretty intense. There are ways again to relieve those, as I said. Go out in nature, meditate, do something that you enjoy, listen to music, dance, drink a lot of water, make sure you eat healthy, make sure you kind of like do like a detox or like a fast from like negative things, news, being around people that bring you down, you know what I mean? Maybe you need a little bit of alone time, maybe you need a little bit more rest during this period. That's all good, but I just want to remind us all that we have the opportunity to remember who we are, but we can also play hide and seek. We can go and hide behind a tree and pretend that no one can see us. But the truth is that there's nothing to be hidden. There really isn't. You know what I know. There's no separation. There's no cheating, lying. None of that makes any sense. Where we are heading, that will no longer exist anymore. You will just know things about each other. Your senses will come alive in a different way as they're happening right now. And that's why there's so much clearing. As you can tell in my voice, I've been doing a lot of clearing in my chest. I've been doing a lot of clearing in my throat, a lot of clearing from my head. And it's been pretty intense, which is one of the reasons why I wasn't able to post for a little bit. But I am improving every day. I'm getting much better. And I'm very determined to getting these messages out because I do believe that they can be of assistance. And they're not just meant to be, they're not just for me. So as you move forward, you'll start to think bigger than you ever could. You'll start to move outside of any boxes that you have created, outside of any labels. You can see yourself outside of any boxes, outside of any possibilities ever imagined. You can now realize your own innate wisdom, your own innate love, your own innate freedom. That is so important that you remember that about yourself. And I think that many are, even if they're not trying. So anyways, we go back to the original question is, how does knowing that we are one with all life impact and change our everyday life? And perhaps you start being more merciful, more kind, more helpful, loving, more compassionate, more encouraging, more understanding with all that you encounter. Of course, you have to use common sense. We can't, common sense where it is appropriate. Maybe next time you see someone needing help, maybe you can lend a hand. And you never know what a simple smile, hug, or kind word can do for another person. And if you're feeling down, I don't know, go watch some happy videos on YouTube. Find some videos of people being helped that have absolutely nothing. Where you're surrounded by, I don't know how much stuff, or maybe very little, but maybe that one little thing someone doesn't have. So I love you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of the week, and take care of yourselves.